Call the meeting order. Burrows.
Yep.
Dangler. Here. Hurt. Here. Hoffman. Gill. Here. We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd actually like to amend the agenda if we could. Email to move policy, the second reading of policy 400.8 and 503.2 to the next meeting, not the later this evening meeting, but make a motion to approve my amendment to the agenda. Is that how it works?
I need a second if that's your motion.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
And then I need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second that.
All those say aye.
Aye.
Amended agenda approved. A little alliteration. It's time for communication and visitors. This is when community members can make public comments to the board. Please be aware that the board cannot comment on anything that is said during this time. This is the only time in the agenda reserved for open public comment. This will be limited to 30 minutes. Please limit comments to 2 minutes. No. We'll move on to central administration. Sit or stand?
If you don't want to be a stand,
Can I sit right here?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Thank you. I kind of invited myself to be on this agenda. My name's Kelly Butcher, and I've been in education for 25 years, and I've been the librarian at the middle school and high school for 9 of those years. And this year I became the advisor for the Gay Straight Alliance at the high school, and this is my 3rd year of being the advisor for the Rainbow Club at the middle school. The reason I'm here tonight is because there's been a lot of discussion about the GSA at previous board meetings, in the West Liberty Index, on social media. And I wanted to come tonight and just kind of clear up any misunderstandings and ask that you address me with any questions that you have. And then if people in the community have any questions, I want them to feel free to ask me as well. The Gay Straight Alliance is an extracurricular, voluntary, student-initiated, and student-led group that unites members of the LGBT community and their allies to build community and organize around issues that impact their lives. GSAs are not clubs about sex. GSAs are not clubs where political or social issues are pushed or mandated onto students. GSAs are not clubs where students are forced to choose or discuss their sexual orientation or their gender identity. GSAs are not clubs that are designed to make your students gay. GSAs are about valuing all people regardless of whether they're gay, straight, bisexual, transgender, or non-binary. Like any other club in our district, GSAs offer students with common interests a chance to connect with each other, and it gives them respite from the day-to-day grind of school, work, and home life. Every single student at the middle school and every single student at the high school is invited to join GSA, and they would be welcomed with open arms by the advisors and by the other members. The GSA may have been seen as controversial or may be perceived as controversial, but it is illegal for schools to use that as an excuse to silence or exclude GSAs. There is no plan to disband our GSA. There's no plan to remove our advisor. GSAs and their members are protected by federal and state law, and I'm very happy to share those policies with anybody who would like to read through them. Oftentimes, if a community member or group of community members is in an uproar over the GSA, the school's responsibility is to address those concerns and not shut down the group because a small group of people don't like it. If a GSA becomes a point of contention in a community, it only proves the need for the GSA in the first place. The National Academy of Pediatrics has declared adolescent mental health to be in a state of emergency right now. LGBTQ teens face even more risk than their straight cis peers. In a study published by the Trevor Project, which I'm happy to send if anybody would like to see it, 42%, picture that number, if there are 100 kids in here, and 42 of them say that they have contemplated suicide. That's 42% of all gay kids have contemplated suicide in their life. 50% of all transgender students have contemplated suicide. 72% of gay kids report having anxiety, and 50% of those teens that want mental health help do not reach out and get it and do not obtain it. 76% of LGBTQ teens reported that the COVID pandemic has had a negative impact on their mental health. And in a recent survey given to West Liberty parents, we learned that parents are worried about student anxiety, depression, and barriers to learning. I need my water. Oh, you got it. Thank you. But there's hope. Students in schools with GSAs report lower mental and physical health concerns. They report greater overall well-being, less drug use, less truancy, and a greater perceived sense of school safety than kids in schools without GSAs. Schools with GSAs report a 40% decrease in suicide attempts and an overall improvement in mental health. Some research even suggests that GSAs may also benefit students who aren't even in the club. One study says that members and non-members in schools with GSAs both reported less bullying, reduced truancy, and less drug use. These findings speak to the advocacy efforts that GSAs use to improve experiences for all students in their school, not just the gay kids, but all kids. Extracurricular groups have the potential to shape the school climate, address inequality, and affect student performance. And our GSA can reduce discrimination, promote well-being, and foster safe and affirming school environments for everybody. GSAs are a place for students to socialize and make new friends. Now, when I think about our GSA, we address issues specifically related to the LGBT community, but we have a lot of fun. We just hang out and the kids get to be kids. So far this year, our GSA group, we've had a Halloween party, we've watched movies, we attended the NAMI Stop the Silence presentation, we've learned about mental health, suicide prevention, self-care. Becky Shepard from the Iowa Safe Schools visited us and talked about rights that we have. We've played games. Their favorite is the parachute game, like from elementary school, where you get the parachute and you throw it up in the air. We started a fundraiser. We've designed and purchased t-shirts, and we've eaten way too many snacks. Sometimes if they just come by and get a snack and leave, that is fine. This week, we're going to have a health presentation given by United Action for Youth. And in December, we're going to have our holiday party, and we hope to add a breakfast meeting so that more kids can attend. Because a lot of kids have jobs and after-school responsibilities. So if we serve breakfast, we can get more kids to come. So right now, our high school GSA has 34 members, and we won GSA of the Year in 2020. We have a trophy that's about 6 foot tall. I was going to bring it, but I couldn't fit in my car. The GSA is a student club run for and by students. Any student at the high school, gay, straight, trans, or cis, may join. Any senior who would like to serve on the leadership board can do that. They just have to say, I want to be a leader, and then they get to join the leadership team. At the middle school right now, we have about 12 members. The Rainbow Club is open to students in grades 6 through 8. And the middle school club, they chose to elect a president and a vice president of the 8th graders. And then those two meet together and make plans. They usually have very expensive plans, and I have to say, can we do anything for free? We try our best. They like snacks too. While we do have a large and very capable leadership team, the GSAs would not be possible without a staff advisor. So advisors offer guidance and assistance while supporting students in taking on leadership and making their own decisions. To have a successful and safe GSA, students need a faculty advisor who is supportive and has shown themselves to be an ally around issues of sexual and gender minorities. Advisors offer continuity because every year our student leadership can change. GSA advisors play a major role in supporting our students. The youth mentoring literature, which I'm happy to email to you, shows a clear connection between the presence of a supportive adult role model and a healthy youth development. Advisors are there to help students who experience rejection, bullying, and mental health issues. And sometimes the GSA advisor is the only supportive person they encounter in a school, but that's not the case at West Liberty High School and middle school, because those kids are surrounded by numerous supportive teachers and paras and administrators. All clubs that students choose to join should offer a safe place to gather. It should provide the same opportunities, same school access, and same adult leadership. The Equal Access Act of 1984 was created to keep schools from discriminating against clubs based on philosophical or religious views. The act stipulates that school employees, such as an advisor, may attend but not participate in meetings that have religious content. Since the GSA does not have religious content, under the Access Act of 84, advisors of the GSA should be allowed to run their group and lead in the same fashion that other club advisors lead their groups. The Equal Access Act prevents schools from requiring permission slips, club name changes, contact restrictions based on community pushback, or denying a club access to any bulletin boards or PA systems in the school. While the content and objectives of a GSA are not tied specifically to curriculum that makes them a curricular club, they are all connected to a student's identity, to their mental health, and to their well-being. And all of these impact a student's ability to participate in school, and is the very foundation of all we hope to achieve in our district. And it's been suggested that I tone down the colorful rainbow decor in the library or in the clothes that I wear. And I could honestly say that the libraries have been covered in rainbows and colorful posters and garlands since before I was the GSA advisor. And anyone who knows me knows that that's just my aesthetic. That is me. I'm wild and crazy, and I love color. I love bright, happy, inviting colors. The way that the library is decorated may signal to kids that I'm a safe person and that the library is safe, and the rainbows are not intended to exclude anyone or make anyone feel unsafe in the library. The library is a safe place for everyone, and I advocate and support every kid in our school district, gay, straight, or otherwise. And since this is public, I do want to take a public space to thank our counselors, our teachers, our nurses, and our paras. This year, more than any year, they have really stepped up, and they've been allies to our gay kids, whether it's buying a GSA shirt or purchasing a sign from our fundraiser or hanging a GSA sign in their room. They've worked to get students' names and pronouns right. They stop by our meetings and they just hang out with us and have fun, and just being a safe person that our kids can rely on. Inclusivity and acceptance doesn't happen in a bubble. It doesn't happen by itself. It takes the hard work and persistence that our staff puts in and day out that makes our school a safe and affirming place. I also want to thank the community. They've reached out, they've purchased shirts, they've purchased signs. The community was so generous that they've donated enough money that we were able to buy shirts for every single member of our GSA. So that is over 50 shirts at $20 each, community donations. So thank you so much. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for continuing to make the city and town the accepting place that it is. And in spite of any difference in beliefs any of us may have, I know that this community will and has and will continue to support and accept all students regardless of their sexual orientation and gender identity. And I really do honestly welcome the opportunity to answer any questions and to speak with anybody who ever has any concerns about the GSA and what we do and what we stand for. And I will take any of your questions, and I thank you for your time. I think it's important that people know this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
You said you had NAMI come. Can you expand on what that is for those that don't know?
Yeah, NAMI is the National Association of
Alliance of Mental Illness.
National Association of Mental Illness, right?
Alliance.
Of Mental Illness. So sorry, so the school district is working with NAMI. I don't know, Brenda, if you can address that a little more.
Sure. So yeah, it's the National Alliance for Mental
Thank
Illness,
you.
and we've been working with them this year, both for staff training, and then as Kelly said, we had Ending the Silence, which is a program centered around helping to prevent suicide, and in specifically reaching out to all kids and giving kids kind of a, you know, you're not alone sort of, that's oversimplification, but and so we did host that for the GSA and for Top Club, which is another club in the building. Those were our first two groups. And then our intention is to host it again later, but it was a virtual presentation in the auditorium, and some speakers from NAMI shared their stories and talked about just mental illness and ways to be supportive of one another and how to reach out for help and that sort of thing. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there's something on Wednesday related to that. same-
Last Wednesday
last
night.
Wednesday.
Yep, we had a presentation for the community. Thanks for the reminder. We also did have a presentation for the community last Wednesday night that was, it's called Friends and Family. So it's a support, like a session to help friends and family be able to support loved ones who are struggling with mental illness. It was a very good session, and I think you could visit it probably 2 or 3 times and get something different from it each time. So our intention would be to host that again, as well as ending the silence for some other students. I think it's very important. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Kelly. Middle school change order.
This was another fire marshal recommendation or requirement to add some fireproofing. So that should be our final change order. In high school carpet.
Have a motion to approve that change order. So moved. Second, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Abstracts I uploaded to board packet. The final one from Muscatine County, or this includes all votes from Muscatine, Cedar, and Johnson. So they just had their final canvas this morning, so that's why it took so long to get results. So Rebecca and Ed will be coming into the board next meeting, and then this is our other vote for the voter couple. And that passed, we just had at 50% +1, so that's renewed for 10 years. So this recommendation is to approve abstracts as presented.
Have a motion to approve the abstract.
I'll make a motion to approve the abstract.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to accept the abstract of the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excess costs of providing limited English proficient program beyond the weightings. This is $168,045.66. Just showing really small.
Can't read that.
Yeah, really small at the bottom. So this is just the cost that we spend in excess. We can ask for spending authority for our LOPs. Last year, it was 178,000.
And usually this is done in October.
Yeah, so there's just been some delays with
Right.
the Department of Ed portal. So finally, stuff was up and running.
Right. No questions about that. That's an action item.
Presumably the decrease is just head count, right?
Yeah. It's just-
I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. One
And
more.
then another SBRC request, requesting 2 out of the 3 areas. One is open enrollment out, not in fall 2020. Just because of the lag of when we get funding and when we have to pay it out, of 98,672, and then LAP beyond 5 years is 183,000. That's just any students that have already met those 5 years of the weighted funding, but are still in our LAP program. So then we can request for additional funds for them as well. 100, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the SBRC request to modify supplemental amount.
I'll second that.
And the LMP. All in favor, say aye. Carries.
All the consent agenda items are included in there.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
And then, as you know, we have two board members that will be leaving us that have served the West Liberty Community School District for quite some time now. I think you had one term, you had two terms, so 8 years and 4 years. That's a lot of time and energy and investment in the community, school district, and the students, staff. So thank you both, Emily and Stephanie, so much for your service
Thank you.
to the school district and students.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all happy tears.
So, Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. I just want to quickly say thank you to the board members and Sean and other superintendents I've worked with and Abby. It's always been kind of fun. Setting agendas and talking about other stuff, and she's tolerated all my silly questions and all that stuff, but it was actually, sounds crazy, but it was actually kind of fun. So thanks, everybody. And then we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn at 5:22.
Thank you.
Burrows,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Shield,
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
Everybody is here. First, we're gonna do the oath of office to Becky and Ed. So, you just have to say yes or I do. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of school official in the West Liberty Community School District as now and hereafter required by law?
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
All right, now entertain a nomination for the office of president.
I will nominate Jake Burrows.
Yes.
It is.
There are no others. We need a motion to cease nominations. Make a motion to cease nominations in a second.
Second.
All right. Well, we don't need a vote, so now take a motion for vice president.
I'll nominate Ed for vice president.
See no other nominations. I'll take a motion to cease nominations.
I'll make a motion to cease nominations.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right. So, let's see. So Jake and Ed, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of President Jake, Vice President Ed, and West Liberty Community School District as now and hereafter required by law?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Take over, Jake.
All right. Abby, since you're our board secretary and treasurer, you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of board secretary and treasurer in the West Liberty Community School District as now and hereafter required by law.
I do.
I need I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I think that a motion to approve the agenda.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Central administration.
All right, so we can go through all of these and then at the end, just make one motion to approve all of them. First thing, set board meeting dates, time, places. Recommend continuing with first and third Mondays at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom. No meeting first Monday in July, September, or January. Official newspaper, recommend the West Liberty Index. School attorneys recommend Lynch Dallas for student and personnel matters, Stephen Cundall for local issues. Depository resolution. We have to set a maximum deposit amount at any financial institution. Set covered by the state sinking fund. Recommend West Liberty State Bank up to 13 million, Midwest One up to 1.75 million, and SJIT up to 1.5 million. And then appointments to board committees. This is their basically have to cross out Emily and Stephanie on all those, and if there's any that either Ed or Becky would like to be a part of. Or...
I'd like to be part of the wellness.
All right.
I probably like negotiations and maybe foundations. Didn't you do something with buildings and grounds there, Ed?
Well, I was thinking foundations.
I just thought you had some experience.
We do a rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. No, I can do grounds if
On
you
three?
want. Foundations. Which one do you want? Do you want-
I'll do whatever you want me to.
Well, we got next year too, so I'll do foundations this year. And then
Okay,
you can
I'll do the, yeah. The buildings and grounds.
anyone want to do Muscatine County Conference Board? So I talked to Emily a little bit. She said it's
What is that
not a
exactly?
ton of time. She said she's gone down there and met after we use some budgets and that kind of thing. She said it's pretty interesting. She hasn't been to a meeting since they haven't really had an in-person normal meeting since COVID, but
I'll do that.
okay.
I'll take that.
And Sean, I assume you'll stay on Chamber of Commerce stuff.
Yep.
All right. Recommend Vicki Vernon for District 504 Coordinator. Recommend Kyle Steffen for District Equity Coordinator. Recommend Level 1 Stephanie Paulson and Russ Hughes, and Level 2 Jim Sweeney and Associates for Level 1 and Level 2 investigators. Appointment of Title 9 Coordinator, recommend Adam Maria. The Delegate Assembly, name a delegate for the ASB convention. I don't know if Ed, you want to do that because you're going to be there.
Yes.
anyways.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Reconsideration Committee, Superintendent recommends Stephanie McNamara, Kelly Butcher, Vicki Vernon, Jenny Laughlin, and Gabby Bugenhagen. And then the LSIAC was included in the board packet. Rolled forward from last year, so unless there's any changes to that, I don't know that they've met yet. No, so.
Make a motion to approve the.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
No fundraising requests, and then one overnight trip. Girls basketball will be playing in Johnston, Iowa. Still in the deal. Playing in the morning, I believe. Early.
So future agenda items, the next board meeting is the December 6th meeting, 6 p.m. We'll have a superintendent report, students on track report, reviewing board policies 204 through 216. That'll be the first reading. And then we'll be revisiting the board policies deferred from this previous meeting, the 400 and 500 series. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, guys.
Yeah.